Excuse me, but I don't think I caught your name at dinner.
I'm Reverend Jim Nunn.
How do you do? Bernice Clifton. Now, you're the one who thinks women shouldn't be singers.
No, Bernice. No, Reverend Nunn thinks women shouldn't be ministers.
Oh, I see. And that's why you were saying the deacon has to be the husband of one wife.
Yes.
I know that passage. My father was a preacher. If I'm not mistaken, it also says the deacon should manage his family well. So I guess that means he has to have children. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Lucky for you. There seem to be an awful lot of priests around who don't. I guess they don't know they're in violation of the scriptures.
Well, I don't think that verse is referring to priests. Anyway, I can give you more biblical references if you'd like.
Shoot.
Well, 1 Corinthians, let your women keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but they are to be submissive, as the law also says.
Galatians, chapter 3, verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free man. There is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus.
And if they want to learn something, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is shameful for women to speak in church.
And it shall come to pass in the last days, says God, that I will pour out of my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy.
Do you feel all right, Bernice?
Yes, I do. I feel like all my circuits are cooking. How do I sound?
You sound wonderful.
Well, it just seems to me that people are always interpreting the Bible in a way that will support their own personal prejudices.
Oh, you mean like certain feminists who would have us believe that God is a woman?
Well, I don't know many feminists who say that. I believe that God is a spirit.
Well, I certainly don't believe God's a woman. Why not? Because if he were, then men'd be the ones walking around wearing high heels, taking my doll and having their upper lip waxed.
I just don't buy this thing about women remaining silent in church.
But, Mrs. Sugarbaker, then you don't buy the Bible.
You have to look at the historical context of these teachings. In this passage you're talking about, Paul was simply referring to a few big-mouthed women who had converted over from their pagan religion and were causing a lot of trouble in the church.
Now, that's an interesting interpretation.
I learned it at my daddy's knee. Anyway, you're always quoting the King James Version of the Bible, and everybody knows he, like most of the men of his time, was just a big male chauvinist.
No, I hadn't heard that.
Oh, sure. And by the way, I certainly hope that isn't intended to be a look of bemused condescension.
Well, no, ma'am, I didn't intend that.
I didn't think so. I am cooking, aren't I?
Go on, Bernice, what you were saying about King James being a chauvinist.
Well, you know, like in Romans, where it says this Phoebe was a deacon. King James translates the Greek word for deacon as servant. That gives you a pretty good idea of what he thought about women. And where it says she has administered well, King James says she has succored many.
I guess the thing that gets me the most, Reverend Nunn, is how many ministers, but especially Baptist ministers, can be against women being preachers when all our missionary models are women. What about Annie Armstrong and Lottie Moon? For crying out loud, Lottie Moon starved to death in China, but she's not good enough to be ordained.
Well, Charlene, no one is trying to discredit their contribution.
I'll tell you something even more peculiar. If you're so against women, how come your name is Reverend Nunn? Did you ever stop to think about that?
Suzanne, why don't you just go outside and warm up the car?
Well, I must say I've enjoyed this little forum. You ladies certainly keep a fellow on his toes. And as for you, Mrs. Clifton, we'd love to have you at our church sometime.
Genesis chapter 1. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them.
Bernice, it's over. Reverend Nunn is leaving.
Oh, well then, I'll leave you with these parting words. Just remember, after Christ was crucified on the cross and all his men had gone home, it was women who stayed until the bitter end. And it was women who first heralded the news of his resurrection. So just put that in your pulpit and smoke it.
And next time I'll bring the cavalry.